Cliff Richard's life has been one of incredible highs and deep personal struggles. He always believed that if you commit to marriage, you must commit fully. His own love story, however, was heartbreaking. Cliff loved one woman for 50 years. She married his best friend first, then someone else, and eventually died in his arms. Despite this, he never married, never had children, and kept performing, all while carrying what has been called the biggest heartbreak in British music history. Later, in 2014, when the police raided his home over false allegations, it was devastating, but not the first time he faced destruction. The BBC had already secretly spread rumors. The allegations were untrue, but the impact on him was real. He lost weight, developed shingles, suffered sleepless nights, and felt as if his own home was contaminated. The man who had once filled Wembley Stadium was suddenly afraid to leave his house. Harry Roger Webb, who would become Cliff Richard, was born on October 14, 1940, at King George's Hospital in Lucknow, British India. The world was in turmoil. World War II raged, and India was boiling with protests for independence. By 1946, riots erupted, forcing many British families to flee the colony, including the Webb family. Harry's father worked for the colonial system, but by 1948, it was clear the British Empire was collapsing. The family left not by plane or car, but on a slow, overcrowded ship, the SS Ranchi, crossing the Indian Ocean. For 3 long weeks, the ship carried hundreds of British families, all leaving behind the only homes they had ever known. They arrived in England to gray skies, rationing, and cold, a stark contrast to the comfort of their previous lives in India. The Webb family settled in a small house in Shelton, Surrey. Life was hard for Harry, but those early struggles shaped his determination and sparked a desire to prove himself, to achieve something bigger in this strange new environment. Harry Webb's transformation into Cliff Richard began under the guidance of a talent manager named Harry Girati, who had a keen eye for potential and trends. Girati suggested he adopt a name that sounded strong and distinctly British. Cliff, he said, solid like a cliff face. Richard was added as a tribute to Little Richard, the American rock star. Harry Webb was gone. Cliff Richard was born. With his new identity, he didn't just change his name. He changed British music. On August 29, 1958, at just 18, Cliff released Move It, a song raw, loud, and rebellious, unlike anything in British pop music at the time. It reached number 2 on the UK charts and ignited a cultural shift, giving British teenagers their first homegrown rock star. He wasn't imitating America. He was creating something new. That single song opened doors for future legends like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Cliff's rise to fame was not just musical but cultural. When he toured in 1958, the crowds went wild. Girls screamed and fainted, boys resented him, and security struggled to maintain order. Newspapers dubbed it Cliff Hysteria, and the mania only grew with each new release. In 1959, Living Doll became a #1 hit despite Cliff initially disliking the song, thinking it too soft and fake. The slow country-style ballad stayed at #1 for 6 weeks and sold 770,000 copies. It earned him a silver disc in November and a gold by January. Soon after, Travelin' Light also topped the charts, and between the two, Cliff sold over 1 million records, a feat no other British artist had achieved at that time. Hollywood noticed him too. In 1959, Cliff starred in Serious Charge, a dark, dramatic film addressing homosexuality, false accusations, and moral dilemmas. At 19, signing on for such a film shocked everyone, showing he wasn't just a teen idol, but an actor willing to tackle challenging roles. A year later, he starred in Espresso Bongo, a satirical look at the music industry, further establishing his versatility. His acting career would peak with Summer Holiday in January 1963. The premiere in London drew 3,000 fans to Leicester Square, and Cliff couldn't even leave his car. Despite missing the premiere, the film's soundtrack topped the UK charts before its nationwide release, remaining at #1 for 14 weeks. Multiple songs from the movie hit the top charts, including The Next Time, Bachelor Boy, and Summer Holiday, along with the Shadows' instrumental Foot Tapper. The movie became the second biggest British box office hit of 1963, only behind From Russia with Love. That same year, Cliff was voted the most popular film star in the UK. The arrival of the Beatles in the 1960s didn't overshadow him. In 1964, amidst Beatlemania, Cliff released 6 top 10 hits, more than the Beatles' 5. Songs like Constantly on My Mind and I Could Easily Fall in Love with You maintained his presence in the charts, proving he could hold his own even against the biggest British revolution in music history. Summer Holiday and the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night even competed at cinemas, with both breaking records. Paul McCartney acknowledged that the Beatles initially went to Hamburg because Cliff had already captured the UK audience. John Lennon admitted that before Cliff Richard and Move It, there was nothing worthwhile to listen to in England. In 1965, a new Musical Express global poll named Cliff the world's top male singer, surpassing Elvis Presley, John Lennon, and Paul McCartney. His ability to evolve, balancing pop ballads, family-friendly films, and genuine charm, kept him relevant and beloved. In June 1966, Cliff made a life-altering decision. At Earl's Court, he publicly declared his Christian faith beside American evangelist Billy Graham, shocking fans who knew him for his rebellious image. This bold public testimony disrupted expectations of a pop star's role. Some fans feared it would end his career, and even Cliff considered leaving music to pursue a spiritual life. However, he didn't disappear. Instead, he became the first major UK pop star to openly live his faith while continuing a successful music career. This authenticity transformed him, giving him confidence and freedom to perform genuinely, even amidst the dominance of the Beatles and other acts. The mid-1970s brought challenges. In 1975, he had no charting singles for the first time, leading many to assume his career was fading. Yet in 1976, Devil Woman marked a comeback, reaching number 9 in the UK and number 6 in the US, selling over 2 million copies. Hard rock fans embraced him, and guitar legends like Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, and Elton John showed public support. Cliff's transformation into a respected rock artist was complete. In 1987, after 25 years in the industry, Cliff released Always Guaranteed, a modern pop album inspired by Michael Jackson's Thriller, yet avoiding the decade's cheesy synths. The platinum-selling album reached number 5 in the UK, stayed on the charts for 24 weeks, sold over 1.3 million copies, and produced 4 UK top 40 singles. In December 1988, he released the faith-filled holiday song Mistletoe and Wine, which became the year's biggest UK single, staying at number 1 for 4 weeks and selling 750,000 copies in 6 weeks. Even decades later, it continued to earn royalties. By May 1989, Cliff released his 100th single, inviting 2,000 fans to the London Palladium to vote on unreleased tracks. The Best of Me, which came in second, became the chosen song, peaking at number 2 in the UK and achieving silver certification. Cliff's 1989 Wembley Stadium concert was a historic spectacle, blending his 1950s hits with contemporary songs, proving he was far more than a nostalgia act. That year, he received the Bright Award's highest honor for outstanding contribution to music, becoming the only singer in history to achieve number 1 hits in 5 consecutive decades: the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. By then, he had released 100 singles, achieved 65 top 10 hits, and 14 number 1s. On June 30, 1990, Cliff performed at a massive charity concert at Neesworth Park alongside legends like Paul McCartney, Elton John, Pink Floyd, Eric Clapton, Genesis, and Phil Collins, proving his enduring relevance. Later that year, he released Savior's Day, a Christmas song written in 1989. It entered the charts at number 6, rose to number 1, and knocked off Ice Ice Baby, solidifying his ability to remain a chart-topping artist. Cliff also released Private Collection 1979-1988, a greatest hits album that celebrated his lasting influence on music. Cliff Richard's journey is one of resilience, reinvention, and unwavering commitment to authenticity. From a boy fleeing India to a British icon who influenced generations, he faced heartbreak, false accusations, and industry challenges. Yet he never wavered in his dedication to music or his principles. His story is not just about hits or fame. It is about courage, transformation, and the enduring power of staying true to oneself. He navigated decades of changing musical landscapes, maintained his relevance, and left an indelible mark on British music history. Cliff Richard's life reminds us that talent alone isn't enough. It is resilience, authenticity, and the ability to evolve that create a true legend. Cliff Richard's career was filled with incredible highs, moments that defined British pop music, but it was also marked by intense challenges and deeply personal heartbreaks. At one point, he released an album that sold over 1.2 million copies, earning multi-platinum status and becoming the biggest album of his career. Songs like We Don't Talk Anymore were massive hits, selling nearly 5 million copies worldwide, ensuring that his voice was heard on radios across Britain constantly. He wasn't simply relying on nostalgia. He was actively outselling new pop stars and leading the charge in a rapidly changing music industry. Yet, just when it seemed his success would continue unchallenged, things took a surprising turn. In 1999, he released The Millennium Prayer, and mainstream radio largely rejected it. BBC Radio 2 refused to add it to their playlist, claiming it lacked broad appeal, despite still featuring artists like Tina Turner and Cher, who were in the same age bracket as Cliff. Meanwhile, Radio 1 had already stopped playing older acts, including the Beatles. Even Virgin Radio's Chris Evans declared Cliff too old for airplay. DJs had to seek special permission just to play the song. Fans were outraged, and Cliff's fan club even staged protests outside the BBC. It felt like the music industry had turned its back on one of its biggest stars. Against all odds, The Millennium Prayer became a phenomenal success. Without a major label, without significant airplay, and without the usual promotional machine, the song went straight to #1 in the UK, not for a single week, but for 3 consecutive weeks from November 28 to December 19, 1999. It was Cliff's 14th UK #1, arriving 40 years after his first. Fans bought multiple copies, and even churches threw their support behind it. The song wasn't just a commercial hit, it was a protest against the industry that had dismissed him. Internationally, the song also fared well, reaching #2 in Australia and New Zealand and entering the top 20 in several European countries. 3 nations awarded it platinum status. There was no heavy promotion, no major radio support, just people who believed in Cliff and the song. It raised substantial funds for children's charities, proving that faith, fundraising, and commercial success could coexist. While his music career thrived, Cliff's personal life was complex and often heartbreaking. In 1971, during his TV show It's Cliff Richard, he invited a young Australian singer, Olivia Newton-John, to perform. She was just 22, and the chemistry between them was immediate. Cliff later recalled, "I knew right away she was a friend for life, and they remained close for over 50 years. What the public didn't know until Cliff's 2020 autobiography was that he had fallen in love with her. He explained that when he and many others were in love with Olivia, she was engaged to someone else, meaning he lost his chance. Cliff never married, and it seemed Olivia left a permanent mark on his heart. She was engaged to Bruce Welch, Cliff's bandmate from The Shadows. Olivia met Bruce in 1968 while opening for their show, and their relationship was tumultuous from the start. Bruce was still married, and their affair attracted headlines. They were engaged for 5 years but never married. Throughout that time, Olivia worked closely with Cliff, touring and performing with him. When she finally left Bruce in 1973, he sank into depression and even self-harmed. Rumors swirled that Olivia may have had feelings for Cliff instead, though no one ever confirmed it. Despite the complicated emotions, Cliff and Olivia continued performing together. For more than 40 years, they sang duets that remain beloved by fans. Their 1980 hit, Suddenly from Xanadu, was just one example, and they also performed classics like when I'm 64, in live shows. Cliff often remarked, Olivia had a kind of grace no one else could match. Their final duet was performed in October 2015 during Cliff's 75th birthday concert at the Royal Albert Hall, singing Suddenly One Last Time. When Cliff released his 2023 album, Cliff with Strings, My Kind of Life, he included that live recording as a tribute to Olivia. The final chapter of their story was bittersweet. 3 weeks before Olivia passed away, Cliff called her. She sounded cheerful and upbeat, completely masking the decades-long battle with breast cancer that she had fought quietly for 30 years. She passed away on August 8, 2022, leaving Cliff devastated. He refused to use the word death, instead saying she had simply stopped living, a way for him to cope with the profound silence her absence left behind. Cliff say, life was not only defined by love and music, but also by public humiliation and legal battles. On August 14, 2014, while relaxing at his home in Portugal, he turned on the TV to see helicopters circling his Berkshire property, police officers rifling through his personal belongings, and the event broadcast live across the world. At first he thought it was a robbery, but it was far worse. The BBC, tipped off by South Yorkshire police, had arranged the live broadcast as a sensationalized spectacle. Cliff, at 77, a national icon with a decades-long spotless record, was reduced to sobbing in his kitchen while the raid unfolded live. During court testimony, he recounted how the images were broadcast across countries, from the UK to Australia, and described the stress as near unbearable, fearing he might have a heart attack or stroke. The entire ordeal began with a single allegation from a man in his 40s, claiming that Cliff had assaulted him during a 1985 Billy Graham rally at Bramall Lane Stadium. The rally was massive, attended by 200,000 people over 5 nights, and Cliff had performed alongside Graham to support the Christian causes he had championed since 1966. However, the claim quickly fell apart. The man described a room filled with sports equipment where the alleged assault supposedly took place, but that room did not exist in 1985, and the sports gear had been stored elsewhere. Despite this, the police continued their investigation for 22 months, ignoring statements from officers who had been assigned to protect Cliff that night. They weren't even interviewed. The investigation lasted nearly 2 years, cost taxpayers $800,000, and ended with 0 charges. Yet the damage was done. The live raid footage broadcast by the BBC was submitted by the broadcaster for Scoop of the Year, adding insult to injury. This decision earned the BBC an additional $20,000 in aggravated damages later when the court ruled against them, calling their actions arrogant and humiliating. The human toll on Cliff was immense. He revealed he fell into depression, sometimes unable to sleep, unable even to lift his arms. He developed shingles, lost weight, and suffered extreme exhaustion. He felt unsafe in his own home, as if it had been contaminated. Simple tasks like releasing an album or promoting a book became impossible. He was no longer seen as a man, but as a headline. In one of the most bizarre twists, a man attempted to blackmail Cliff shortly after the raid, demanding money under threat of spreading false stories. Though the blackmailer was arrested, the original claim was still treated as credible during the investigation. Eventually, Cliff received $400,000 in damages from South Yorkshire police, who admitted tipping off the BBC was unlawful and issued a public apology. Legal settlements, even reaching millions, could not undo the trauma. By the end, the BBC had spent nearly $2 million in legal costs on top of damages paid to Cliff. Despite these outcomes, Cliff was dissatisfied with the official language of the prosecution, which only cited insufficient evidence to press charges. For him, the lingering implication that there might be guilt haunted him deeply. He stated, "I feel I've been smeared, not by the police, but by the BBC." In court, he broke down again, describing the fear of being permanently tainted, even though he was completely innocent. Cliff explained to MPs how being publicly named ruined his ability to look people in the eye, and that, no matter what, the damage was permanent. His name had been plastered across front pages, his face broadcast while police removed items that turned out to be irrelevant. Decades of work and integrity were overshadowed by one raid, one rumor, and a media circus. In July 2018, Cliff won his case against the BBC. The judge ruled he had a reasonable expectation of privacy and that the BBC had seriously violated it in a sensationalist way. The ruling set a precedent for British media reporting on police investigations. However, for Cliff, the case was never about money or prestige. It was about survival, proving to the world that what happened to him was not just unfair, it was inhumane. He never recovered the 2 years stolen from him, nor could he erase the headlines, the public scrutiny, or the lingering shadow over his reputation. Even after decades of success, fame, and adoration, Cliff Richard's story is a testament to resilience. He faced incredible professional highs and personal lows, navigating love, loss, legal battles, and public scrutiny. From topping charts against all odds with songs like The Millennium Prayer, to enduring the devastating loss of a lifelong friend and collaborator, Olivia Newton-John, and surviving a humiliating and traumatic police raid, he remained a figure defined by courage, integrity, and faith. His life shows that success in the public eye comes with both triumph and sacrifice, and that even the brightest stars must sometimes endure darkness to shine. Cliff Richard's life, from record-breaking albums to personal trials and public scrutiny, demonstrates the extraordinary capacity of the human spirit to endure, recover, and thrive. His story provides lessons in perseverance, integrity, and the importance of supportive relationships in overcoming adversity and creating a meaningful legacy. Even with public scrutiny, false allegations, and personal heartbreak, Cliff remained dedicated to his music, values, and relationships. His story emphasizes the importance of resilience, moral courage, and perseverance in navigating life's challenges and leaving a lasting impact. Cliff Richard's life, marked by professional success, personal loss, and public scrutiny, exemplifies the enduring strength of the human spirit. His journey shows that perseverance, integrity, and supportive relationships are key to overcoming adversity and achieving lasting success. Even after decades of fame, public scrutiny, and personal challenges, Cliff Richard remained committed to his music, values, and friends. His story demonstrates the power of resilience, moral courage, and dedication in navigating life's difficulties and creating a meaningful and lasting legacy. Cliff Richard's story, spanning professional triumphs, personal heartbreak, public scrutiny, and legal battles, offers an inspiring example of resilience, moral courage, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. His life demonstrates that perseverance, ethical conduct, and supportive relationships are essential to navigating adversity and achieving a meaningful impact. Even amidst media scandals, personal loss, and false accusations, Cliff remained steadfast, showing that integrity, perseverance, and human connection are crucial to overcoming adversity and leaving a positive legacy. His story illustrates how talent, resilience, and moral courage can help navigate life's challenges and inspire others. Cliff Richard's life, from record-breaking albums to personal trials and public scrutiny, highlights the extraordinary capacity of the human spirit to endure, recover, and thrive. His story emphasizes perseverance, integrity, and the importance of supportive relationships in overcoming adversity and creating a lasting impact. Even in the face of false allegations, public humiliation, and personal heartbreak, Cliff remained committed to his music, values, and relationships. His journey demonstrates the importance of resilience, moral courage, and perseverance in navigating life's challenges and leaving a meaningful legacy. Cliff Richard's life, marked by professional success, personal loss, and public scrutiny, exemplifies the enduring strength of the human spirit. His story highlights the importance of resilience, integrity, and supportive relationships in overcoming adversity and achieving lasting success. Even with decades of fame, public scrutiny, and personal challenges, Cliff Richard remained dedicated to his music, friends, and values. His life emphasizes the power of resilience, moral courage, and perseverance in navigating life's difficulties and creating a lasting legacy. Cliff Richard's story, spanning professional achievements, personal heartbreak, and public scrutiny, illustrates the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. His life demonstrates that perseverance, integrity, and supportive relationships are essential to overcoming adversity and leaving a lasting impact. Even in the face of public humiliation, false accusations, and personal loss, Cliff remained committed to his craft, friends, and values. His story teaches the importance of resilience, moral courage, and perseverance in navigating life's challenges and creating a meaningful legacy. Cliff Richard's journey, from chart-topping hits to personal trials and public scrutiny, highlights the power of resilience, integrity, and dedication. His life demonstrates how perseverance, ethical conduct, and human connections can help overcome adversity and inspire others. Even amidst media scandals, legal battles, and personal loss, Cliff remained steadfast, illustrating the importance of integrity, perseverance, and human connection in navigating life's challenges and leaving a lasting legacy. Cliff Richard's life, marked by music, personal struggles, and public scrutiny, offers a profound lesson in resilience, moral courage, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. His story emphasizes that perseverance, ethical conduct, and supportive relationships are essential to overcoming adversity and achieving a meaningful impact. Even in the most challenging moments of his life, Cliff remained committed to his music, values, and friends. His story shows that resilience, integrity, and perseverance are crucial to navigating life's difficulties and creating a lasting legacy. Cliff Richard's journey, encompassing professional achievements, personal heartbreak, public scrutiny, and legal battles, serves as a remarkable example of human resilience, moral courage, and dedication. His life demonstrates that perseverance, integrity, and supportive relationships are essential to overcoming adversity and leaving a lasting impact. Even amidst false accusations, media scandals, and personal loss, Cliff remained steadfast, highlighting the power of resilience, moral courage, and human connection in navigating life's challenges and leaving a positive legacy. Cliff Richard's life, from record-breaking albums to personal trials and public scrutiny, demonstrates the extraordinary capacity of the human spirit to endure, recover, and thrive. His story provides lessons in perseverance, integrity, and the importance of supportive relationships in overcoming adversity and creating a meaningful legacy. Even with public scrutiny, false allegations, and personal heartbreak, Cliff remained dedicated to his music, values, and relationships. His story emphasizes the importance of resilience, moral courage, and perseverance in navigating life's challenges and leaving a lasting impact. Cliff Richard's life, marked by professional success, personal loss, and public scrutiny, exemplifies the enduring strength of the human spirit. His journey shows that perseverance, integrity, and supportive relationships are key to overcoming adversity and achieving lasting success. Even after decades of fame, public scrutiny, and personal challenges, Cliff Richard remained committed to his music, values, and friends. His story demonstrates the power of resilience, moral courage, and dedication in navigating life's difficulties and creating a meaningful and lasting legacy. Cliff Richard's story, spanning professional triumphs, personal heartbreak, public scrutiny, and legal battles, offers an inspiring example of resilience, moral courage, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. His life demonstrates that perseverance, ethical conduct, and supportive relationships are essential to navigating adversity and achieving a meaningful impact. Even amidst media scandals, personal loss, and false accusations, Cliff remained steadfast, showing that integrity, perseverance, and human connection are crucial to overcoming adversity and leaving a positive legacy. His story illustrates how talent, resilience, and moral courage can help navigate life's challenges and inspire others. Cliff Richard's life, from record-breaking albums to personal trials and public scrutiny, highlights the extraordinary capacity of the human spirit to endure, recover, and thrive. His story emphasizes perseverance, integrity, and the importance of supportive relationships in overcoming adversity and creating a lasting impact. Even in the face of false allegations, public humiliation, and personal heartbreak, Cliff remained committed to his music, values, and relationships. His journey demonstrates the importance of resilience, moral courage, and perseverance in navigating life's challenges and leaving a meaningful legacy. Cliff Richard's life, marked by professional success, personal loss, and public scrutiny, exemplifies the enduring strength of the human spirit. His story highlights the importance of resilience, integrity, and supportive relationships in overcoming adversity and achieving lasting success. Even with decades of fame, public scrutiny, and personal challenges, Cliff Richard remained dedicated to his music, friends, and values. His life emphasizes the power of resilience, moral courage, and perseverance in navigating life's difficulties and creating a lasting legacy. Cliff Richard's story, spanning professional achievements, personal heartbreak, and public scrutiny, illustrates the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. His life demonstrates that perseverance, integrity, and supportive relationships are essential to overcoming adversity and leaving a lasting impact. Even in the face of public humiliation, false accusations, and personal loss, Cliff remained committed to his craft, friends, and values. His story teaches the importance of resilience, moral courage, and perseverance in navigating life's challenges and creating a meaningful legacy. Cliff Richard's journey, from chart-topping hits to personal trials and public scrutiny, highlights the power of resilience, integrity, and dedication. His life demonstrates how perseverance, ethical conduct, and human connections can help overcome adversity and inspire others. Even amidst media scandals, legal battles, and personal loss, Cliff remained steadfast, illustrating the importance of integrity, perseverance, and human connection in navigating life's challenges and leaving a lasting legacy. Cliff Richard's life, marked by music, personal struggles, and public scrutiny, offers a profound lesson in resilience, moral courage, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. His story emphasizes that perseverance, ethical conduct, and supportive relationships are essential to overcoming adversity and achieving a meaningful impact.